Peace of Mind by Lonnee Rey, yours truly, from Volume 5 of Rattled Awake. Oh, the timing. I just happened to be outside at 10:30 p.m. and I noticed some flickering orange lights through the trees. From a distance, I tried to make out if my neighbors were having a side yard bonfire. At this hour? There? That's not their style, I thought to myself. And I didn't hear any voices, and the orange glow was growing bigger. Bolting down the hill from my second-story deck, it became apparent a massive fire was building in a large pile of yard waste. Wind gusts were blowing flames within a few feet of their home. Fire! Fire! Flames were spreading across their lawn. Racing to the other side of their house, I banged and banged on their door. Fire! Adam! Adam! Fire! Come on! He finally opened the door, sleepy-eyed and confused. Fire! It's right outside your bedroom window. Cars slowed down to see the blaze. I'll call 911, one driver said. The yard was on fire. It spread quickly, and I had to jump back several times. It was so close to their home you could see soot on the house. Adam grabbed the garden hose and managed to thwart the advancing flames. It took the firemen, with full-on fire hosing, a good half hour to finally extinguish the brush fire. Thank you for coming over, for banging on the door like that. We were dead to the world, he said. Well, you almost were dead to the world, brother. What the hell could have caused it? That's not even your yard or pile of branches. What the hell? He said, did you hear that car go by earlier? Some dude was being chased by the cops, and it sounded like he was driving on a rim. Sparks were flying everywhere. No, my apartment's AC must have blocked out the sound. It had to be the sparks. How random is that, right? There's no telling, given the high winds that night, just how big that fire could have been, or the damage it could have caused. I was concerned that I didn't even hear a speeding car running on a rim. It made me wonder what else I'd missed. Apartment dwellers are especially vulnerable to the mistakes of others. This presents a unique challenge in being prepared for anything at any time. Regardless if it's the people or the stuff they do, shit with an F in it is shift, happens no matter what. Truth is, apartment dweller or not, you can be severely impacted by the choices others make in life. There are few words more terrifying than fire! 2 years ago, a 10-alarm fire broke out at our complex. Young people were jumping off second-story balconies. Older people did their best to shimmy down the square deck supports to escape the blaze. Ouch. Meanwhile, firemen were frantically looking for fire hydrants. Apparently, no one knew the lay of the land. I couldn't believe my eyes. No one could. Dazed residents huddled together in the parking lot. The midnight blaze robbed them of only everything. A couple of people remained calm as they phoned local hotels for a room. One woman said, I have renter's insurance. They'll cover the room while I make arrangements to restart my life somewhere. And one by one, the remaining residents without insurance were taken to various shelters for the night. Were it not for the donated blankets and socks, their new lives would have begun as it started, barefoot and freezing cold. Pajamas just didn't cut it in the 30-degree weather. The question on everyone's mind, how did this happen, was a moot discussion. Asking, who did this and why, didn't change the outcome, delete the need to understand. The real question to be asking now is, how fast could you be ready for an evacuation? You cannot control circumstances, but you can improve your responses to curveballs. The pandemic was one hell of a curveball. Stepping back, diving headlong into rabbit holes ever since, woke me up to some harsh realities and prompted the motto, Don't be scared. Be prepared. I've watched thousands of hours of videos since waking up in 2020. A former sheeple who assumed everything was fine. Deep research has shown me cracks in the foundation, as co-author Chef Sean Murphy Monroe put it so aptly. I've been rattled awake so big I could write a book on the ahas and oh hell no's discovered. Connecting the dots has formed a clear picture of what is really going on, who or what is out and out lying, and what we can do to be prepared if the shit with an F shift hits the fan. Half of it is mental preparation. The other half is physical, literal steps you can take so you don't end up wearing your pajamas in public too. In this way, you can protect your peace. Earlier this year, my hallway was filled with smoke that burned my eyes. My next door neighbor's door was open. He smiled sheepishly, saying, "I burned the grits. It's okay now." The toxic smell told me it was more than burning grits. I ran down the hall, shouting to my elderly neighbor, Susan, "It's okay, it's okay, stay inside." She didn't hear me over the blaring alarm. The tangled mess of dogs, a cane, and a wobbly woman made it outside. Whew. And then she fell. 2 bones were sticking out of her shin. Oh my goodness. There was nothing I could do but grab her purse, call her son, and wait with her until the ambulance came. Grit's guy was nowhere to be found. Susan was gone about 3 months, rehabilitating that broken leg. Poor dear. Grit's guy never asked about her, never apologized for the incident. How cold can a person be? He might have a beautiful smile, but apathy is one hell of an ugly trait. I know now that it hides right underneath his spit-shine persona. When you see apathy, note it. Apathetic people care. They just don't care about you. Sound cold? Well, they are. I thought about our neighbor Norman and how swiftly he strode out of the building that day. He was carrying a small suitcase in one hand, in the other, his dog on a leash. I admired his calm demeanor, loading his bag and dog into the car, then driving away. I dubbed him Stormin' Norman from that day forward. Asking him about it later, he said, "There was nothing I could do that day, so I left. I've been through this before. Lost everything thanks to an apartment fire 10 years ago. Learned my lesson the hard way, so I always have a bag packed." Oh, noted. It gave him peace of mind. Stormin' Norman's experience and preparation kept him peaceful in a crisis situation. He was ready for it. That's my goal for you. Advanced planning based in reality is gold. Norman epitomizes, don't be scared, be prepared. This is my message for you today, just as it was in Rattled Awake Volumes 1 and 2. I have been rattled awake about food, especially after learning that over 2,000 food processing plant fires have occurred in the last 18 months. See Volume 1. In Volume 2, I rang the alarm about Appeal, a toxic food coating being applied to produce, including organic. As if that weren't bad enough, I linked to videos showing how diced ham caught fire in a microwave, along with magnetic meat, cricket flour, and creepy lab-grown meat. See Volume 2. If you like to eat and value your health, these 2 chapters are for you. Rattled Awake is all about insights, epiphanies, ahas, and oh hell knows, as much as it is personal transformation and business pivots made over the last 5 years. When we share these stories and solutions, everyone benefits. Say it forward. Next topic, mental preparation. The people we surround ourselves with, both voluntary and inadvertently, exert influences upon us. Some are good, some not so much. Apathy, an especially harmful personality trait, shows up socially now more than ever. It looks like those people who don't care enough to inquire with you, choosing instead to judge, jury, hang you based on gossip. Note that, them, and this. The eyes are useless when the mind is blind. They don't want to understand. Remember, they simply do not care, and it shows. With time being our most precious commodity, it is time to move on. We have to take our power back because there are losers posing as leaders everywhere you look these days. That's spelled DAZE. That is why, in 2021, I wrote How to Deal with a Dumbass, What to Do and Say When They Come Your Way. It was in response to the global clown show on parade and driven by my then neighbor, Kristen, who loudly pronounced, God made me a dumbass. Believe people when they tell you who they are. It showed up in lots of ways, including the day she poured water on her oven's grease fire. It was Thanksgiving, but none of us were trying to have smoked turkey. After that, I gave her a huge box of baking soda, a new can of Comet, and a scrub brush. No excuses, I thought, hoping to avert future disasters. She just laughed it off. And then it happened again. Another oven fire. I knew that the Comet still had a seal on top. She'd already proven herself to be asleep at the wheel, but her apathy was truly scary, bordering on reckless endangerment. Now, granted, there is only so much you can do. However, when it comes to choosing who you let in the front door, there are a few red flags to pay close attention to before you give them your address. Apathy and asleep at the wheel are two of the 5 red flags to look out for when assessing people. Once you are aware, you can make better choices before trouble becomes your problem. I get comments about my dumbass book, like the 55-year-old man who said, "Your book helped me escape a dangerous cult in Norway." And one person literally kissed the book in praise of it, saying, "I stayed up all night reading it. In the morning, I finally freed myself from a relationship thanks to your break up, break out, break free strategies." A field guide of sorts. It's the book I wish I'd had growing up. All sorts of dramas could have been avoided. Simply put, dud, stud, friend or foe, who gets to stay and who has got to go? Using good judgment isn't being judgmental, it is essential. If you enjoy podcasts instead of reading, check out the short and hilarious episodes on how to deal with a dumbass, a spiritual perspective, found on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, and more. Being mentally prepared is the backbone in protecting your peace. Today, more than ever, discernment is essential to your well-being. Sometimes, though, we don't see it coming. The knock at my door startled me. These days, you let somebody know you're coming over, right? Lonnee? Lonnee. I didn't recognize the voice and wasn't expecting company, so I didn't open the door. The voice went away. That was me at your door the other day. Our stove was on fire and I came over to get your help putting it out, but we got it," Christian said. "Oh, thank goodness." Christian is a young professional climbing corporate ladders. He's got the GQ look, a pretty new BMW, and a bright future. But coming to my house to put out his stove fire? Not real bright, especially since he has the same fire extinguisher as me, just hanging out there on his kitchen wall. What was he thinking? As they say, common sense isn't common. Never overestimate someone's acuity based on presentation or charisma. Thank goodness we didn't have a fire that day. A side note, knowing his girlfriend was petrified of the dark, I gifted them with 3 mini flashlights. I was hoping to avert a future issue if the power went out again and candles were their idea of a good time. I wasn't so sure these two knew not to go to bed without extinguishing the flames, frankly. Sue, how's the light on those mini flashlights? She said, "Oh, I don't know. We don't have any batteries." Nice. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him think. Ignorance is bliss until it isn't. YouTube has tons of great info, training videos for just about everything. I stumbled upon the bushcraft prepper demonstrating his stealth camping in the woods. He said, in these circumstances where you are stealth camping, laying low, hiding, in other words, it's important to be quick about leaving your spot. It was 26 degrees last night and I'm freezing cold. I didn't sleep well at all. This is the perfect time, under less than ideal conditions, to test myself. I'm going to see if I can climb out of this sleeping bag, pack up, and be gone in under a minute. He failed on the first trial run. Second time, he was done and ready to run in under a minute. Practice makes perfect. That demonstration made me think about you. Would you be able to exit your home in under a minute? A fire won't wait for you, half asleep, bumping around in the dark, to throw a bag together. Neither will a train derailment, chemical explosions, or weather events. I know. What a world we live in, right? It is what it is, and it is what it ain't. Don't be scared. Be prepared. My brother Jason is very prepared, a real MacGyver type. He is also a lifelong student of martial arts sciences, skilled with unusual self-defense weapons, such as a katana, which is a long sword, and has reflexes so fast he can slice a flying mud dauber wasp in half with a knife. Suffice it to say, he walks through life with confidence, knowing he can handle any type of idiot. As a Floridian, he's experienced the devastation of hurricanes and is fully prepared with months of extra food, water filters, flashlights, and alternative power sources. Smart guy. His wife is lucky to have such a man as he, ready for anything at any time. Imagine my surprise when he said, "Sis, I couldn't get out of the house in a minute. Or even 3. I have stuff everywhere. What do you do? Have a bag by the door and an extendable ladder to get out through the window?" Yes, and yes. "Well, what's in the bag? Wouldn't the type of disaster determine what you pack?" he said. "Not really," I said. "Think of those residents who had no phone, no numbers memorized, nowhere to go, and no way to get there, Jay. I heard more than a few say their car keys were burned up in the fire, too. So, thinking in worst case scenario mode, shelter topped the list. My list. Using a mid-sized backpack, about 30 liters, I packed a 10 by 10 tarp, a Walmart travel hammock, paracord, and a bug net. This way, you and your pack are off the ground if it's raining, plus it's light in case you're on foot. A headlamp is more useful than a flashlight, by the way. You want to think in terms of building a fire, shelter, food, and first aid. A small canister of butane, a pocket rocket stove, which folds up and fits into a case about the size of a cigarette pack, a Sawyer Mini water filter, 2 changes of socks, cold weather underlayers, and snacks. Oh, and access to water, so I got a Silcock key. If you don't know, a Silcock is like a wrench for outdoor faucets. If the faucet handle is missing, you can use a Silcock key. A Silcock clover has 4 different size keys, and there's an image in the chapter so you can see this. It has 4 different sizes, so I recommend it to everyone. "Yes, sis, I got mine at Ace Hardware. I own 4. Keep one in the truck, in fact." Excellent idea. You got to pack your bag correctly too, Jay. Like the first aid kit goes on the very top of your pack. In an emergency, you'll need it fast. If you or someone else is hurt, you don't want to be digging around looking for it. "Yeah, sis, that makes sense. I just never thought of it. I never even heard of that before. Whoa! As aware and prepared as he is, this was news he could use. His first aid kit is racked and stacked, tackle box sized and heavy. Mine is too, but mobility means you make a smaller kit. Dutch Sense, a YouTuber who focuses on earthquakes and with stunning accuracy, lets the world know what to expect, when, and where. They said it couldn't be done, but he's been doing it for years. Dutch is quick to point out the need for baby wipes. Dirt, dust, and debris come with the territory, so pack those on top too. I made a fire starting kit too, Jay, and this one guy showed me how to make a tiny essentials kit: fishing line, hooks, safety pins, candle, lighter, water purification tab, sewing needle. All of it fits into an Altoids tin. I made a second one using a small waterproof container. And man, am I glad I did all of this stuff a year or two ago. With only one good hand, I broke my wrist in 2 places a few months ago. There's no way I could have managed to make these kits. And since you might have to walk, blister pads need to be in the first aid kit. And deciding now which shoes you'll wear to run out of the house will save you precious time in a pinch. Have another good pair in the car, always. And speaking of cars, you know to back in wherever you park, right? It's faster to pull out quickly and more accessible if you need a jump or a tow. Yeah, I never thought about shoes, he said. Neither did all those people in pajamas. What about your wallet, sis? I mean, do you pack up everything together every night? If you've ever tried to replace your ID, you know you need ID to get ID. Proof of identity is the last thing you want to be fussing over as you try to use your credit card for that emergency hotel room, you know? I said, "Well, Jay, as much as I'd like to think I've got it all together, sometimes my ID is in a jeans pocket or purse. I need to be more organized about that. I've whittled my wallet down to 3 cards, all in RFID protection sleeves. My birth certificate, social security card, a printed list of passwords, and phone numbers are all in protective page sleeves too. Those and a USB memory stick duplicating all that info is sitting out on my dresser in a zippered travel documents pouch. That way I can grab it and go. The same thing goes for medications. Make a list and, if possible, have meds in one location." Jason objected in a way, saying, sis, I would have to move a bunch of things and keep them in the garage. I reminded him that worst case scenario means he won't be loading up the truck per se. What can you fit into a backpack? How light can you stay on your feet, Jay? Imagine you have to walk and go from there. Oh yeah, that reminds me. I also bought a silent dog repeller device after watching a trial run one guy did. He encountered dogs along the way. If things are chaotic, dogs might be on the loose. Some of those residents in the 10-alarm fire had nervous dogs in their arms because their leashes were left behind in the rush. You just never know, do you? Hopefully, you will never have to boogie on a moment's notice. But if you do, you won't be scared because you prepared. Think of it as camping light. Start by making a list of what you have or will need to address the 4 main aspects: shelter, fire, food, first aid. Dedicate 3 hours on a Saturday to build your exit stage right bag. Dedicate 2 hours to assemble vital documents and also load them onto a USB memory stick. If you bought new shoes, dedicate time to breaking them in now. You may want to spray them as well as your chosen jacket or coat with water repellent. If you have a family, you can split up the heavier items between the adults. For instance, one of you can carry food-related and fire building, while the other can carry shelter-related. Smaller packs for the kids, with clothing basics, can also carry everyone's toothbrushes. Make it fun for the kids to prepare so they won't be scared. Ask, "Hey kids, what can we put our clothes in to keep them dry?" 1-gallon Ziploc bags are ideal. Our bodies need more water under duress. Be sure each of you is equipped with a sturdy water bottle. This page is a terrific resource for kid-size as well as adult-size water bottles. The summary reviews will help you quickly sift through the plethora of options. And in the chapter, you will see a link for the water bottles. I also wanted you to keep this in mind. My local convenience store would not sell me a bag of ice. I had cash, but they refused, saying, "Until the power comes back on, we're closed." Yikes. I was counting on them to keep food cold in my cooler. Since that happened, I have I have frozen a couple bottles of water as plan B. What are your plan Bs? Thousands of residents in Philadelphia didn't know their water was about to be out recently. Do you know what to do the minute an issue like that occurs, or if the power goes out unexpectedly? You have a limited supply of quote unquote good water in the pipes and in your hot water heater. Water is the first thing to get stocked up on. It's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. Make a list of could become a water container and put it on the side of your refrigerator so you know exactly where to find it. Here's what you do the minute you realize there's a power or water-related issue. Number 1, line your tub with plastic sheeting, shower curtain, or liner, or get yourself a water bladder from Amazon. Fill the tub or bladder. While this is filling up, fill everything you can with water, then cover to protect. Suggested items: stock pots, saucepans, pressure canner and other large containers, Tupperware, clean milk jugs, plastic tubs, bowls or bins, including plastic drawers from those inexpensive 3-drawer filing cabinets, water dispensers like beverage coolers, or filtering devices such as zero water, pitchers, buckets, and trash cans. Item 4. 5-gallon containers are great because you can cover and stack them. You can also get stackable water containers. There's an image in the book about that. And number 5, if you have plastic storage totes, dump out the stored items, line the totes with heavy plastic, then place true contractor trash bags inside. Fill it with water. Invaluable, multi-purpose, true contractor bags, 3 mil thick, are easy to get at Ace Hardware. Obviously, you will need to differentiate the drinkable water from the utility water containers. Bleach can be used to purify under most conditions. Bear in mind that bleach loses its potency over time. Yes, it actually expires. Pick up another unscented bleach next time you go shopping. The amount suggested per gallon ranges from 1/8 to 1/4 teaspoon per gallon. Listen, life is full of surprises, some good, some not so much. And recite the motto with me: don't be scared, be prepared. More and more truth is being revealed about metals being found in tap and bottled water. Dre OG is a really informative YouTube channel. I learned so much from his curations of enlightening TikTok videos. He is also the reason I purchased a distiller. We've all heard how pharmaceuticals pass through city water filters, right? So given all the random prescriptions being excreted, sorry, not sorry, it is what it is, it makes sense to filter your water. Now, I thought I was doing okay with my zero water and its 0 parts per million filtering system. Well, yeah, not so much. This close-up photo shows you what was left behind in my distiller, whether it's tap or quote-unquote filtered water. Look closely. It's disgusting. There's a photo. You gotta see it. The funky white stuff and solid chunky bits are typical residues. What is this stuff? I have no idea, mate. Was the $134 cost worth it? 1,000,000 times over, if only because I drink more water now than ever before. The residue is so freaking gross and it happens every time. Sadly, the zero water filtered water experiment also gave similar results. I'm urging you to invest in your continued well-being and in light of incidents that might put you on a boil alert. You can find the stainless steel DC House brand distiller and others on Amazon. A gallon of tap water takes 4 hours to process into 0 parts per million or pure water. It is easy to clean with a bit of white vinegar. Just use enough to cover the bottom of the machine, let it sit about 5 minutes, then wipe with a non-abrasive scrubby. The sides will come clean with a wipe. Rinse out and refill for another round. After seeing this disgusting mystery crap, it's hard to say, there's just no way I can cook stuff in tap water ever again. Running the distiller overnight, every night, is an easy habit that pays off. The downside is a fan noise and heat generated by the device. The upside is my home retains a lot of the warmth, so I wake up to a cozy kitchen every morning. The summertime was a bit rougher, but so what? It hasn't increased my electricity bill that I can see and is worth the warming effect. P.S. It's increased it by about $10. A gallon of water goes fast, especially if you cook with it. These $10 stackable 3-gallon water containers found at Walmart are super handy. There's a picture of them here in the book. This USB rechargeable water dispenser is under $20 and an invaluable device for both 3 and 5-gallon water containers. You got to get this thing. It's so cool. Next subheading, I guess, prepare today. Circumstances rule men. Men don't rule circumstances. Ending up homeless can happen in a flash and through no fault of your own. Being prepared for most anything will bring you peace of mind if most anything happens. 3 years ago, I never thought this way, ever. Witnessing several fires, various reactions, and outcomes has amounted to wake-up calls in a big way. And who knew we needed to question the safety of our food or availability of water? Who'd have thunk it necessary to learn about canning food because, grocery stores only have 3 days worth of food on hand at best. This has always been the case, but I was asleep at the wheel, and I took availability for granted. Who knew 2,000 U.S. food processing plants mysteriously burned down in the last 18 months and aren't coming back? It wasn't on lamestream media, was it? And by the way, if you're looking for better news coverage versus scripted talking heads, make it redacted. Their YouTube channel is a solid resource for news you can use. 5 years ago, when I moved into my apartment, I had no idea how much pain, loss, and expense could be brought on by others. Spinning hay into gold with an attitude of, what can I do about this? Prompted my dumbass book, my dumbass podcast, I love saying that, and multiple heads-up chapters in the Rattled Awake anthology series. Action takes the edge off anxiety. Are you where I was a few years ago, thinking everything is fine and dandy and always will be? Well, my friend, times have changed, and so have people. If you have questions or want expertise that will save you hours of research, please reach out to me. You can DM me on LinkedIn or on the OWL app, OWWLL. I'm sitting on a lot of information that could benefit you both in terms of inner peace and preparation. Don't be scared. You can prepare. You can become a Storm and Norman too. Did this article rattle you awake with at least one aha? One thing you can do today to better protect yourself and your family? Please share it with everyone you know and love so they won't get caught barefoot and wearing pajamas in public. Awareness plus acceptance, seeing what is, plus action equals prepared for most anything. Please leave a review on Amazon so others can see the value in getting rattled enough to act too. That's it. My bio with Lonnee Rey is on a mission to help others who want to better prepare for most anything. Publishing, podcasting, and story development inquiries are some of her favorite topics to gab about, too. Find her on the OWL app to speak confidentially about your ideas or ahas. She can fill in gaps of information and get you on your way with proven know-how and a passion to share it. Connect with her here on officialrattledawake.com. Thank you for listening. Don't be scared. Be prepared and say it forward.